Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing the top 5 beginner lessons in FPV. This video is not in any particular order. These are all things that I just wish I had known, or things that I could have learned, or things that I wish people had shared with me, all reaffirming stuff that people have said. So hopefully you find these useful. Okay, so let's start with the start of FPV. So what you need to be able to do is have a screen that you can see what your drone is seeing. Now, when I first started, I decided I didn't want to wear a headset, so what I bought, which I haven't got all the parts for me here, is a bracket that goes on your controller and then a screen that you can then place on here. So there was a bracket, I lost it unfortunately, that goes on here, and then you can have fly from like so. This is fine for something like a DJI Phantom or things like that, because you're not really in it, you're just telling it what to do. Whereas in FPV, that didn't really work very well. It really wasn't the most comfortable experience, it really didn't help me fly, and was nothing like the simulators I've been practicing on. So, I moved up to buying a set of Quantum Genesis, I think these were. These were the Quantum Genesis Fat Shark edition, so these were sort of sponsored by Fat Shark. I wouldn't say they're necessarily Fat Shark goggles. Box style goggle. Now, there's nothing wrong with a box style goggle. Actually, when I started, I really struggled with getting any vision out of the sort of Fat Shark style goggles, and actually these are really easy to pick up and use. So you put them on and you get a screen at the end of what looks like a hallway, and they are really, really good. These were about £150 when I bought them. They are now a lot cheaper, and these things have moved on quite a long way since I started. But they are quite good. I mean, if this is where you want to start, this is not a bad place to start. Yes, they're more difficult to pack, and realistically, the only reason I upgraded was because I wanted something that looked a bit cooler and was fit in my bag better. So that's why I moved on from these. Then I moved on to my goggles. So these are the Skyzone Sky 02, whatever the latest one is. I can't remember. Their naming convention is crazy. These are really good because they are nice form factor. They're very, very comfortable. They're a really good price point. They've got diversity. They allow you to, you've got a camera on the front. Yeah, it's a nice gimmick, but not really that useful. They also have a band scanner, and they are really good from that perspective. And they also have a DVR. They don't have a fan, which is a bit of a shame, but they are really good goggles. So these are now around about £200-ish. So if I was starting, I would probably have jumped straight to these, because while these were good, I was limited by them, and I spent about £100 on this. That's useful for bench setup, but not much else. So invest in your goggles, because your goggles will last you. Don't waste your time on buying stuff that you're not going to use. If all you can afford is these are fine. If you can afford to go up to another level, to something a bit more resilient, well, a bit more functional, these are really good goggles. So let's talk about batteries. Right, batteries are key to our hobby. Batteries are the thing that keeps you in the air. They are the thing that allows you to do all the fun things you need to do. They're also a sort of expense that's reasonably sort of pricey in terms of what you do. I mean, a good battery is around £20. A really good battery is sort of around £30 for our hobby. So they're not the cheapest things. I mean, you can get the reuse out of them, but you need to look after them. Now, there's two reasons why you need to look after them. One, these are very, very dangerous little things. They do catch fire. There is enough stories around on the internet of people who have left these on charge, and they have been charging them at a ridiculous high rating, or they've just not looked after them and they catch fire. So you need to look after them in terms of keeping them safe. I have mine in a LiPo bag, so I keep them safe in that when I take them out to the field. And if I'm leaving them on storage for any length of time, I have an ammo box that I put them into. The other thing that's really important about them is if you look after them, they last you a lot longer, and they also give you more consistent performance. One of the things I did quite a lot in my early days was I didn't get a chance to fly a lot, so I would leave a battery charged for ages and ages and ages, and what that's led to is a couple of batteries I've got which just died after sort of a few uses, and they weren't very good. So one of the things I bought was the ISDT FD100, which is a really, really good battery decharger, and it is as simple as that. So all you would do is you plug in your battery, you press that, you set the number of cells it is, so in this case a 4S, you set the number of amps you want to decharge at, which is 6 amps, a fan starts up and it decharges your batteries. Now this is really good because it drops it down to storage voltage, which means your batteries are sitting at a voltage they're much more comfortable at. So I found that what I've now got into as a real habit is if I go out and I've got, say, 15 packs with me and I only use 8 of them, that I religiously make sure I decharge them on that day so they are ready for me to use another day. And it's really as easy as that. I mean, these are about £20 on Banggood. They are really good. This is so easy to use. I don't know why I wouldn't use this. And it means that my batteries will last me longer and my batteries are better looked after.
Next up is simulators. So the simulator I use is Liftoff. I've got it off Steam. It was about £15 when I bought it. It's a really great simulator. It is a recreation of flying drones, and you can do various bits for your parts and mess about. And it's got lots of different places you can fly. So I bought this when I first started, and I really struggled to get into how the dynamics of the quad actually works, because it's not like flying a plane. It's nothing like flying a plane. It's not even really like flying a helicopter. It's just totally different. And what I've done is I basically spent a lot of time on the simulator working over different things, and I could plug my Tyrannus in, and that allowed me to fly with the controller I wanted to fly with and work my way through it. Now, the really fantastic thing about a simulator like this is that what you can do is you can take off, as I'm about to do, fly along, and then when you then decide that you're going to do something clever, like I'm about to now, where I go, oh, I'm going to fly through this gap and do a little spin, and you get it wrong, you hit the wall, that's it. Now in the real world, that's your quad broken. Now in here, it's fine, that's okay, you just go and do it again, you reset and away you go. And that repetition gives you confidence that your muscle memory, your skills are coming in. This is not a replacement for spending time with flying packs, flying in the field. This is not. To get better, you've got to spend time flying out in the field. But this is a great place to start to get your basic understanding of how quads work. So I would spend quite a few hours flying around with my brother, who also flies mini quads, and we'd just chase each other and do recreations of tricks. So you'd find a trick tutorial online, sort of one of the right ones, and then you just follow it and you would try and do it and recreate it on here. Now it's really easy to do things like power loops. It helps you understand those, yaw spins, all those types of bits and pieces, and it's really good for that. What I've been trying to do recently, as I hit the ground, is trying to master matty flips. Now matty flips are really difficult because to do a proper matty flip you need to have a 50-degree angle, but what you want to try and do is try and keep the bar that I'm flipping over in shot the whole time. And now what I'm struggling with here is that when I come over the top, I don't maintain the shot. I don't maintain it in shot at that later point. So I just keep repping this, and I've been repping it for a while. I've still yet to master it because I'm not very good. But it's not cost me anything. Now I want to be able to do this under a rugby post, so I need to learn how to not drop height. But it's just good fun. You can practice doing tricks, you can do stuff that you wouldn't normally do. I had quite a lot of footage that I was using for this and this is just some of the more interesting stuff that I was playing about with. But if you were going to get into flying FPV and you haven't started yet, get yourself a good controller, get into a simulator, and go and practice. It's the best way.
Right, so sorry about my ugly mug, but this is the only way I could really show you this. So I want to talk to you about modes. Now, modes are set in your flight controller. So there's 3 main modes with 1 slight variation on those. So the modes we're going to talk about today are angle mode. So angle mode is where you're limited to a certain angle of attack on your drone. So what that means is if you push all the way forward, it will only go to this point. If you pull all the way back, it will only go to this point. If you roll all the way to the side, it will only do this much, and same for the other side. Now that makes it nice and safe, and it's very much like what a DJI Phantom would do. So it makes it nice and easy for people to pick up and fly whatever you're doing. You find it a lot in hobby drones. So what it doesn't do though is it stops you from being able to do anything of sort of more fun, crazy stuff. But also it's trying to fight you. So you're telling it to do something and it's trying to do what you're telling it to do, but it's still limiting you. So you tell it to dive forward and it sort of jitters and gets stuck, and it's really not a very nice flight experience. And you can see a lot of videos where people are flying in angle mode and it gets stuck. As do users, I'm one of the people who got stuck in angle mode. I was stuck in angle mode for about 6 months of flying because I was afraid that I was going to crash and damage my drone, and I wasn't confident in my skills. What I found was, actually, because I'd been spending a lot of time in the simulator, when I switched over to angle mode, it was actually more natural and a lot more easy for me to do because I'd already been flying like that. That's how they work on simulators. So it's an easy way of getting stuck. Next mode up is horizon mode. So horizon mode works very, very similar, but what you do have is on the extremes of your control, if you push all the way forward, it will roll. If you pull the way back, it will pull back. It will also allow you to do spins. So it is a sort of halfway house and gets you there. But again, it still has that inherent problem that it's trying to fight you. It's trying to stop you from, it's trying to keep you in this nice, safe little middle space that allows you to fly really easily. Now, it's a good jump, but you also see that horrible problem where people get stuck in there. It's still jittering and it's still not quite stable. So that's where you move up to what's known as acro mode. In beta flight, or it's basically the mode that has no name. So if you have no mode selected, that's what you'd have. So acro mode allows you to literally spin, roll, flip, your spin, all to your heart's content. If you push all the way forward, it will keep going forward until you hit the ground. If you tell it to pull back, it will do the same. It is the mode that allows you to fly as you're expecting to do. So that is the mode that you really should try and get to. And I know it's scary, and I know it's one of those things that people don't, they're always worried and they're going to bugger it up. But you won't. You will learn. You will learn quickly, and it won't be fighting you. This thing will do what you're telling it to do. So it's a really good mode to go to. Now, the slight variation of that is something that's called air mode. Now, what air mode does is when you are off throttle, it means that these props are still trying to keep you stable, keep you in a location. So if you split upside down, it will try and keep you stable upside down. If you're this way around, it will try and keep you stable that way around, because it still has enough power in the props to keep that stable. If you don't have air mode on and you flip up like this, effectively you're just like a rock, a brick. You're flying into the sky. It will have a certain set of momentum, but it's not going to keep itself stable. So what you want to try and get to is an acro mode with air mode on and fly like that. Now, some people have it on that set on all the time. I have it as my primary setup, and I have I think I have air mode as, so I think I have horizon mode as my sort of standby. If everything goes a bit wrong, I flick that on, and that allows me just to sit like this. So modes are really important, and you can easily get stuck. So go into your simulator, try it, learn it, and then go and take it out to the field. So let's talk about props. Lots and lots and lots of props. I'm not going to talk about the types of props you need to have and the different qualities of these HQ props against these butter cutters, against Del Cyclone 5051s, against some random 5-inch sheet props I started. What I want to talk about is behaviour with props. And what I mean by that is that when you have your drone and you've got props on it, as I have here, you never, ever connect your drone to a LiPo battery in this situation unless you are absolutely sure that nothing is going to happen. You should never have props on indoors and power this up unless you have a very, very safe situation, because once you plug this in, all bets are off. This thing is set up to level itself and do all manner of bits and pieces, and it is software controlled. So at some point, if it just has a little glitch and one of these motors spins up to full power, you are not quick enough to stop it. Genuinely, you're not. You might think you are, but you're not. I mean, I watched a video the other day, and the guy, hang on, let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. The guy had the drone like this, fully powered up, and was waving it around. He was literally waiting to like lose his fingers. I've made the mistake once of holding onto a drone like this while someone else was taking off with it, and the props were on the wrong way round, and it literally came round and sliced up most of my hand. Do not put your props on indoors and plug a LiPo in and mess about with any settings. Do not connect it to your computer especially. There are so many things that can happen. It is just dangerous. Do not do it.